Matt, will you say that one more time?
Sure. Hereby call a public hearing to order. And there are currently no citizens present. We are open for the next 15 minutes to hear citizen comments of the appropriation ordinance.
We'll go 15 minutes.
You did get a copy of their packet?
What do you need?
She said she has the ordinance. Is there a copy?
Yeah, I left copies on the table.
Do I need to, will I need to stamp it, Jerry?
Yes. Well, you'll have to record the yeas and nays,
Uh-huh.
and then I think Matt has to sign it, and then it has to be notarized, and then you have the notarization page.
I'm leaving in the morning. So is it okay if I get all that done next week, or does it need to happen sooner?
I don't know the date deadlines. Charlie, is Charlie coming tonight?
I think so.
You know?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, Charlie will know.
Should, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's him. There he is. Speak of the devil.
Your ears must have been burning. Oh, and here's little cupcakes. If anybody gets the nibbles, I get some leftovers from the birthday party we had in our office.
Sean's got the COVID. Sean Jones has the COVID.
Okay.
I talked to him today. He said he's okay. A little energy. Hoping that the worst is past. The worst part is that his mother is in town.
Oh no.
Oh, that's too bad.
To celebrate her 81st birthday. We both got it.
Oh, no.
So she has done a little worse.
When was he diagnosed with it? When did he come down?
Just last week.
Okay.
Amanda had a little confidence.
Charles,
Yes,
can I ask you a question?
only after you tell me that by the public will left.
Yeah, that's right. How soon do you need the signed and stamped ordinance?
The sooner the better.
I'm going on
What's the issue?
vacation at 3:30 in the morning. So can we do it tonight? Like,
Yes.
okay. Because I can just grab my stamp and
Yes.
Matt can sign it. Okay.
I'm around if you want to go grab it now.
The stamp? Oh, sure.
Where are you going?
Alabama.
Yeah, you should leave it to
We have to.
Thought it's not a big game tonight. It's Eagles, Minnesota.
No. This is.
It's with the public comment.
Evanston City Council is always Monday night.
Oh, really? You know what our Will Met ones were? So I'd always miss, for 7 years, I missed the college football championship. And our meeting started at 7:45. So it was literally like game time. I'd just be like, oh man, another year.
Yeah, yeah, so keep jacking the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when we talked, yeah. That's,
Wait, what? Again?
no, that was it. No, that was the price.
Where are we going on again? Why are we?
No, we're not. Actually, what I did, I put it on there. Jared and I talked about it. It was too late once it was an actionable item, but it's in the bills, so it's not an action. We don't have to vote on it. Yeah, that was on me. I put it on there, and then Jared was like, "Oh, we don't have to do that."
Yeah. Knocking agenda items off.
Yeah, I put it on mine. I was like, I put a red line through it already.
I've got a class all that week, so I'm working a lot. Should be able to make it though. And then November, I work that day. So I can, if we want to figure out a way, I'm happy to zoom in.
Yeah.
If we, you know what I mean, if we want to try to do that.
Yeah.
And for me.
critical meeting will be December. That's, this meeting in December are the two most important meetings of the year.
December I'm here, but November I'm work, so it's like, if you want to Zoom, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to have your computer up and Zoom, and I'd be happy to do it.
Let's get a little bit closer. I mean, see what's on the horizon, what's on the agenda, and make sure. we
Oh,
have
the
voters.
audit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Something to do.
Yeah, that'll be most likely in December, because it's possible it could be November, but it's not, but there's no big deal about that. Or-
So this meeting is to ask questions about this project
Yeah, this is the meeting, this must be passed.
today.
Go back. Go for it.
It's like, the concrete's been poured, it is set, it's ready to go. Cook County wants that. So basically today we pass the spending half of the equation, and then in December we pass the revenue half of the equation. Practical has announced that the bills will come out in November and we do December 1st. It's way more forthcoming than we were actually about. But interestingly, like I've got a buddy of mine, people are getting killed on their mortgage payments right now because of last year. I have a buddy of mine who, his escrow payments went up by $450 a month. Like $1,200 mortgage.
Oh.
And the reason why, because he had, he went off on the bank and, just made it uneasy for everybody at the bank, and he had hired one of these tax reduction firms to get his assessment lowered and all that. He's refused to pay their bill. And I said, I looked at everything, I said, no, they got your assessed value lowered, they did their job, you owe him payment, get on with it. At the bank, you can't write the escrow. It's like the escrow is your savings account to pay the bills. That money's not going to anybody but to pay your bills. And the problem is, that's what your bills are. Well, the reason it's a problem is last year, every September, they reassessed the escrow payment. Because the tax hadn't been paid, he had a big balance in his escrow account. So then when the tax was paid in December, it drew the escrow account negative. So he's been underpaying basically for 12 months and now has a big negative balance that he has to pay, catch up on top of his taxes have gone up 35%. So, because his assessed value went up 35%, but that's down from where it was 42%. So the point is, it's killing them just because the bank's escrow analysis didn't take into account the fact that Cook County was late paying.
So the line went up 250, but the year ago, it went down to 450. And I remember thinking at the time, that's not right. It's
These late tax bills are screwing up the bank's programs from doing the escrow analysis. And I remember when I worked at the bank, because I was the guy that wrote the programs that did this stuff, that was our number one headache in the mortgage system was escrow analysis. Because it's an impossibly moving target.
What time do you think rush hour starts? Like Chicago?
5:45, 6 starts getting.
In the morning?
And here's the other thing that layers in.
They got the whole, at least coming
Payments
south,
for escrow
they have the
risen.
whole hair part blocked, so that becomes gridlocked.
I mean,
Just from here?
south on Lake Shore.
He's got a little bit more time, like 6:30.
Not only is shortfall, he's got to catch up
Okay.
with a much higher.
Especially with the buses right now.
You know it's gonna
My
be
sister
reversed
keeps changing the
in
dates for the
some
trip, for my birthday trip. And
But as I.
I'm just wondering if I left Wednesday morning, what time would I have to leave to miss?
That's basically an
Six.
interest.
Six?
loan.
By leave by 6. You're going to Indianapolis?
So,
Yeah.
All right. It is 7:02.
Okay.
having set aside time for public comment on the appropriation ordinance and hearing none, we will move on to our regular scheduled meeting. And I hereby call that meeting to order. We are missing a minute taker for the evening. I could volunteer to do roll call. I think the only roll call vote we have is first. Oh, and the,
I can do the roll call.
you mind?
Yep, that's fine. Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Could you roll call the commissioners?
Sure. Diana Anton.
Here.
Mick Morrell.
Here.
Matt Mitchell.
Here. Okay. Sean Jones and Ms. Amanda De Palma are unable to join us tonight. We do have a forum. Moving on to citizen comments. Seeing no citizens, we will move on to approval of the minutes. Is there a motion on the August 10th, 2023 minutes?
I move to approve the minutes for the meeting dated August 10th, 2023, August 10th, 2023 as written.
Mitchell seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Commissioners present. Moving on to the approval of the bills.
I'll move to approve the bills dated September 14th, 2023 in the amount of
I just noticed we have a problem with the bills. The bills detail, I didn't notice this when the packet came out, the bills detail is for $66,504.94.
right?
But the summary report that was given to you is for $70,970.
Because it's for the August. The summary report is August.
Oh, that's the problem.
Is that?
Okay.
So,
So yes,
in the amount of,
66,000.
so ignoring the bill summary, I move to approve the bills detailed report dated September 14, 2023 in the amount of $66,504.94.
Mitchell seconds. Jerry, you agree with Nick's assessment there?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going off of the detailed bills report starting on page 7 of the packet.
And truth be told, just as background, the summary has always been more of a convenience for the commissioners. Nobody else uses that report but the commissioners.
Right on.
The detailed report is the one that matters to me, and the auditors is viewed as the check register for the district. So that's the amount that's
So
always
this
the
is-
most important.
The ones that
What
they
the
got?
biggest difference between the two reports is, the detailed report does not combine multiple payments to the same payee and give you a payee total. So like for example, in summary, you get a total for ComEd, the detail's gonna have like a half a dozen entries for ComEd.
Oh.
But the totals should all be the same.
Yeah. So
Great.
just so, I'm sorry, we did have our Remarks meeting start. There was a reprint with the bill summary with the correct on there.
Mon, is there anything you want to draw particular attention to?
Actually, just we have increased our internet, which is starting next week on the new bills. The janitorial service, I had a heart-to-heart talk with them after seeing the work that was being done, and Natalie and Marcos and I all talking, and they came in and immediately changed the staffing, and there has been a difference night and day in the cleaning. I honestly didn't notice it because that's what I was used to.
Same price?
Same price, and it was night and day of what they've been doing in the building. So that's been great. One thing I do want to call your attention to is the Sunrise Tree Care. which is completely fine. The bill is fine, but we had another tree, a pretty large branch, fall over at Cayman. And when Marcos and I went to go inspect it the other day, there was another branch that's actually pretty large going over the top of those apartments. So I'm very concerned about that one being an issue. So I'm having Sunrise come and look at that. And I know that that's something that, obviously it's money, but I think it'll be a lot worse if we let it go and that tree falls in an apartment complex.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go get a quote. I'm just gonna get a quote on that and see where we go with that.
Great.
But that was it for the bills.
Any questions? Come on.
Thomas, you said for internet, you got faster internet?
Yeah, we were on very slow internet still.
Do we rent a modem and router?
We do right now. We do right now, but we're looking at having our own.
If not, just make sure they update that.
Mhm. It's all new.
Just like-
Yeah, they did bring in, so we actually just received the router last week, and tomorrow we're doing the testing on it.
When you're renting, you can just, every year, you can just call,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and get new
Yeah.
equipment if you're renting. Or if it'd be cheaper to just buy us
Yeah,
a better one.
that's what I was thinking.
Save
'Cause
money from renting it over
yeah,
time.
Natalie just purchased a nice one for our concerts, so I was always looking at that as well.
Great.
Charles, do we need to do a roll call vote now that we're all in person?
No, except the appropriation vote.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything further regarding the bills?
No.
All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the petty cash.
I'll move to approve.
Oh, I'm gonna interrupt there. Technically, we really have two separate petty caches to deal with tonight.
Yes.
Since the change in sign of Brian leaving and Chase no longer being willing to give us a debit card, we have maintained the Chase petty cash account for checks that need to be issued, and we have the debit card at Wintrust. So the $750 report are the checks written from Chase, and the $651.40 is the debit cards at Wintrust that will need to be separately approved.
Separately approved.
Okay. So we'll just do that twice.
So, Morel moves to approve the first of two petty cash summaries in the amount of $750.
Mitchell seconds. Mark, could you walk us through these? Esther Jones, Mobile Music, and Quadians?
I'm looking where that one is.
Might be in the one that's in the digital.
I don't have it in the, I don't have this
Oh,
page
yeah.
in the.
I don't have that one. That's one of our bands.
Modal
Yeah.
Music is, yeah. What are the other
Yeah.
things?
Esther Jones is another. That's
Also
another band. Yeah.
Mhm.
So those are all three of those are.
Great.
For your bands?
Yes.
Quadian is it?
Yeah. I don't know where my. Did not get the. Quadrant.
Any further discussion on that?
No.
What?
All right, all those in favor?
No.
Provide the
I just
detail
got one.
report on that? I'm
Me
sorry.
too.
She didn't provide the details on that particular set.
Yeah, I don't
in
think
the
I have
digital,
that.
not
one.
in the
And
The digital,
copy,
yeah.
she didn't provide the 750.
Right, so one is in one is in the other.
Okay.
I move to approve the second of two.
Oh, hold on. Vote on the first one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I just, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to your second motion.
Move to approve the second of two petty cash summaries, also dated September 14, 2023, the amount of $651.40.
Mitchell second. Any discussion? What's the Chamber of Commerce?
That is a luncheon.
Mashup.
Mashup.
We're going to Mashup.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just for the sake of, for Julie to take these minutes, there were two petty cash,
Correct.
okay, and those were not all in the packet, is that right?
One is in the digital. The $750 one is in the digital packet.
Okay,
The one that we are talking about now, $651.40,
In the hard.
is in the hard copy.
Okay, I just need to get her an updated
Two petty
packet. then.
caches, because from what I understand, there are two separate accounts that we are pulling petty cash from.
Okay, thank you.
Those are different because those are
All right.
checks for the bands were petty cash checks. And these are the
Any other questions on this? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Moving on to the monthly reports. Mr. Rodas.
All right, good evening, everyone. So I'll let Natalie talk about all the fantastic events and everything else that we have going on late summer, early fall, and they really are pretty amazing. Just want to give a little shout out to our maintenance crew that's been works their butts off as soon as they get in until that time they leave. Parks are looking great. Even today, their report was that go look at the grass, how beautiful we left it, and I did, and they've done a great job. The Bienenstock playground equipment came through, and Marcos was out there. I got in at 6:50, and he was here at 6:30 unloading the truck. So I give it up to him, always being there for things. So that's we already have a picture attached here. One of the logs is already over there at the at Reba, and I'll tell you that log. How heavy is that thing, Natalie? Because they use the forklift for it.
It's not late.
Yeah. Also, you see the pictures here. We put QR codes on the back of the trucks, and it takes you to our websites. So when you're in traffic, you get to see what we're up to. Also, we had a broken slide at Brummel. I have a picture there. It was great what they did. All of that is they had these actually at their shed, and Marcos fixed them and painted the bars to look like the playground.
That's great.
No, this is amazing. It's amazing because you wouldn't be able to tell. What a great job they did with that. So now we actually have the option of we can get another slide, or because these are kind of a la carte, we can see also what other piece of equipment we can put there. But for now, it's safe and it looks good. As you can see, AYSO started last week during the Bears opener. We had over 225 kids come through. I'm having a meeting with Megan, who heads that up next week. And also we have a display at the Evanston Library showcasing our books from our equity webpage as well. And also Maricar Fernandez started last Wednesday as our office manager. So there's going to be a couple hiccups with board packets and things, but I think she's getting the hang of it.
And is she also going to take over the corporate secretary?
Yep.
When does that start?
We're hoping next month.
Okay.
What did you say she's taking over what?
The corporate secretary
Oh.
position. So now we'll have that off the plate.
Mhm.
Any questions, concerns for Marlon? Okay, thank you.
Nothing further.
Natalie?
All right. Quick summer wrap up. Our camps ended at the end of July, and then we went into mini partner camps throughout the month of August. We had the Imaginary Game here for 3 weeks. We had Incrediflix and Playwell Technologies at Cayman East Park. A couple of our mini camps were canceled. The Let's Craft It camp and the mini basketball camp canceled due to low registration. Our sports went really well. We extended those days into August because of the weather cancellation and the poor air quality cancellations. Both programs were well attended and ended with a pizza party. Youth Grow Team, Laura provided a report on the Youth Grow Team for the commissioners, which included some photos of her team and the gardens. They have been, I'm not gonna read this all out loud, but I will just say thank you to her and the entire team. They have been stocking up the Love fridges around Evanston all summer long and done a really wonderful job with that, as well as collecting lots of food for the food pantry. One of her Youth Grow Team members also made a very, very cool scavenger hunt of plants and flowers that you can find around Ridgeville Park. Made a whole sheet with like colored illustrations. We bought stickers so the kids can go do that and bring it in for a sticker. And I think they plan to do it for the other parks in the community as well. Did you have something to do with that as well? Okay. It's very cool and I love it. So really grateful to all of them for all of their hard work this summer. Theater and concerts, we hosted 4 weekends of performances from the Laughing Stock Theater in June, a dance performance from Dance in the Parks featuring Evanston Dance Companies in July, and 7 concerts in July and August. Our first concert was canceled due to weather, and 2 of the other concerts were rescheduled, all due to weather as well. The performances were extremely well attended. Our guest artists seemed really pleased, as well as our food vendors and local sponsors. Miscellaneous events, we participated in the Pep Fest and the Juneteenth Parade in June. We partnered with Purple Line Adventure Play to bring free pop-up play to Elks Park in June and July. We hosted the 4th of July Association's races at Cayman East Park, Evanston Public Library events at Brummel Park and Elks Park, 2 of the city's Starlight concerts in July, and we'll host 2 of their movies this month in September. We attended the Reba Place block party in August and brought tables, chairs, kids games, and staff to support. We also partnered with the Evanston Public Library to celebrate their 150th birthday last weekend by participating in the Readathon with drag queen Alex Hex. She read aloud children's books here at Ridgeville Park. It was really cool. So it was busy. It was a busy summer. It was a lot of fun. Studio 908 and our partner programs, the fall 1 session of classes has begun. All classes but 1 youth class and 2 adult classes will run this fall. We had really nice registration. Our partners are also doing really well with their registration. Some have made some adjustments to accommodate schedules and to recruit late participation. And I will continue to register patrons with a prorated fee who are joining us later in the session. Half-day workshops. We're partnering with a group called Sweat Sports to offer various sports camps at Cayman East Park on the District 65 School Improvement Days. I also just hired a woman named Victoria Livingston who is going to carry on JC's legacy of the Makers Workshops here. She'll be offering camps on both the full days and half-day school improvement days. Bike the Ridge, our annual event with the City of Evanston. Bike the Ridge will be held on Sunday, October 1st from 9 to 1. School of Rock will perform from 10:30 to 12:30. Mike Miro reports food and beverage vendors and local sponsors have confirmed, and they will join us at Ridgeville Park as well. Our Fall Frenzy event is going to be held at Ridgeville Park on October 19th from 4 to 6. We will have a live band, pumpkin painting, a candy scavenger hunt, and food and drinks from the Firehouse Grill. That's it.
Moving on to the treasurer's report in our packet. I just want to acknowledge the nice report from Laura Downey. She's not here tonight, but there's a great written summary of the work that the youth group did. So moving on to the treasurer's report, Mr. Gibbs.
Okay. Marlon and I met to finalize the budget, which is coming up on the agenda tonight, and submitted to Charlie for getting the appropriations ordinance pulled together. In the packet, you also got monthly reports. The only typical monthly reports that are in there are the appropriations ledger and the statement of revenue and appropriations. They aren't terribly meaningful reports at this stage of the game just because a budget has not been passed yet, so there's no way to measure our progress against the plan. But they do show that year to date, so far we've spent in this fiscal year $177,000, mostly on salaries and wages and primarily in the recreation fund. We've had some revenue, about $70,000. Which is less than the expenditures by about $107,000. So we have to draw upon our reserves to fund the operations of the district. And that will continue until we start to receive tax revenues in December. Aside from the reports in the public packet, you also got a copy of my 213-page end-of-year work product. This is kind of what lives on for years to come. And the auditors use it as a part of their process of producing the annual report, the HCFR, that state law requires, and they do it in conformity with GASB standards. In that packet are the final appropriations ledgers and other reports of the regular monthly familiar variety, as well as the ledgers and journals that you don't normally see in various supplemental worksheets that go into producing all the other reports. The ACFR that comes out, it'll come to us sometime in November or December. Includes a couple of financial areas that I don't typically work with. They do the pension and depreciation accounting. However, we have to give input to the depreciation process. So I met with Marlon on that to update the inventory reports, or otherwise known as the fixed asset reports. We have two versions of it, one for non-land and one for land. Once a year, you folks see a copy of it. That's in the big 100 or 200 page report, starting at page 199. In the financial packet, there's a new worksheet. This year is the first year we've been allocating interest income across all the funds in response to criticisms that were put into the last two audits. And that worksheet hopefully will pass muster when they do their review of things this year. It also, that process of spreading interest across all the funds impacted the drafting of the appropriations ordinance, because Exhibit A had to incorporate some new elements, and that will carry over to the development of the levy ordinance, again, with Exhibit A because of those new elements. Later on in the meeting, you're urged to pass the appropriation ordinance. Upon passing that, then there's a couple of follow-on additional steps that need motions and approval. The first one is about capital projects. The ordinance envisions spending some money on capital projects through the capital improvement fund. Typically for capital improvement projects, we're going to get the money from various sources. We can get grants, we can earmark monies. Like last year, we got some insurance proceeds as earmarked to do a basketball court repair. Bequests we've had in the past. Another place we can get money is unexpended funds from prior projects. If we budgeted a project and didn't spend it all, the leftover money can get allocated to a new project. And then any unappropriated surplus in the other funds can be transferred. Now, only the general fund or the recreation fund can transfer money over to the capital fund. This last source of transferring unappropriated surplus is typically the most common way we fund the projects. And so to the extent that we have some projects planned to be funded this way, you need to approve a motion authorizing me to transfer and directing me to transfer the money to the capital improvement fund. Understand that when you do that, it's a permanent reservation of that money. So if we take the money out of the recreation fund and put it in capital improvement, we can't change our mind and put it back. Once it's transferred, it's a permanent transfer.
But that's only for 1 year.
It's the project is only for the 1 year, but once the money goes to that fund, that's forever. So you got to spend it. The only thing it can go to then is a capital project. It can never go back to pay salaries for a program or something like that. So I will ask that when we get to that point in the agenda that you do something to the effect of the proposed motion there to direct and authorize the treasurer to transfer $40,000 of unappropriated surplus from the recreation fund to the capital projects fund to be applied in the amount of $5,000 to the purchase of Kubota equipment and $35,000 to the performance stage project. And that highlights another aspect of it. Anything we put in the capital improvement fund must be designated to a specific project. We can't just save money for the sake of saving money there. Secondly, just kind of as a reminder about the background of things, every time we spend money, it's a two-step process. Step one is you've got to set the money aside. You've got to allocate it to a purpose. That's basically what you're doing with the appropriations ordinance, is you're allocating money to purposes. At that stage of the game, we typically don't have an invoice to pay, we don't have a quote to approve, nothing like that. At the time that we intend to actually spend the money, that's when you do a second approval of the activity. Your monthly bills reports approval is the example of what that is normally. Payroll is kind of unique because you don't vote on the payroll each month. You just have invested in the executive director the authority to manage the payroll system. And it's tied to the time cards and the salaries of employees. To the extent that folks are getting raises, typically the executive director will just implement them after the performance review, but the treasurer is kind of unique. I report directly to the board. So customarily, you would at this stage vote to implement the passage of, upon doing the budget, you would put in a motion to implement the new salary for the treasurer. So we need that in order for Marlin to update the payroll system. So that's what those two things are about. We'll do that after we've approved the appropriations ordinance. That's the extent of my report tonight.
So Marlon does the performance review
Of other employees.
of others, like,
Like, you don't have to vote on the raises for the other employees because you vested that authority in Marlin to manage it. Now, anybody who reports to the board, you do.
In practice, we go into executive session and commissioners discuss with one another.
are we doing that today?
No, we don't have, so we do that for each employee once a year.
Each employee?
Each employee yearly, annually.
So
And we don't-
did I miss that this year?
They're staggered, so we haven't had one recently.
Yeah, or, I thought they were in July.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just saying, mine used to be in July, but I was asked to push
Right.
it back to April. So my review will be in April, is that right?
Mhm. And one of the reasons too is because of me starting in June. It just felt like, 3-4 weeks in to start doing reviews didn't feel, I think, fair for either parties or for any of us.
And
Your July review didn't happen, it'll happen in April.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then the guys,
It'll be Marcos as well because his was. I gotta look at his. Yeah.
yeah.
And that was decided because Marlon came in.
In June. Mhm.
Anything else? Right. JC, you have anything to share?
I don't have a report, but I was under the impression that we're going to be talking about how the committee and the board are working together.
I thought we were gonna do that at the Ready meeting, but I'm happy to have that
I
conversation.
think we need to have it now.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't prepared anything. What would,
The committee continues to ask for the charter to be on it.
okay.
Right, there's no staff on the committee, there's no board member on the committee. There's a whole bunch of stuff from Pat Effion's report in 2020 that still has not been accomplished. So from conversations that I've had with Marlon and from comments that you've made, it sounds like you all are interested in changing the way that the committee is working with the board.
Yes, I think that's fair. So I've had a conversation with Marlon and Aisha regarding, one, that consulting contract, and then two, is yes, the role of the Ready Committee and the role of the board in association with the Ready Committee.
I'm having a hard time hearing that.
Okay.
Okay, would you
I'll
say-
try to speak up. So, on our agenda tonight is to discuss and approve the contract for Bella Consulting.
Yeah, just no one's contacted her since June, just so you know. She has no idea what's happening.
Okay.
She contacted me to find out what's happening.
Okay, so we're hoping to approve the contract renewal tonight. So, do you want to do that right now?
Yeah, we can do that now.
Alright, so, do you want to do that right now?
I mean, I have other things that the committee would like to bring up.
Okay, so, floor is yours.
I mean, I was hoping to have a little bit more information of how you all are envisioning these changes. But I just want to remind you again that the committee was put in place to increase the Park District's bandwidth on being able to do equity work, which specifically means bringing in community voices, which has not been happening. The equity charter was put in place as a step towards making this work sustainable. And the committee and the charter are crucial pieces to making RPD an anti-racist organization. In the racial equity policy and in the charter, it specifically states working in partnership with the communities we serve. There are multiple points on the charter that have not happened. There's not ongoing review of policies. There's no feedback going back and forth between the board of commissioners. We haven't even been able to meet for months. There's no relationships that have been built with other communities. And there's no staff member or board members on the committee like the charter says there's going to be. And if you look at Dr. Effion's report, there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that has not happened yet.
All right, so I don't have that in front of me. I'm looking at the equity charter.
I believe Dr. Effion's report is on the website.
I can email it to everybody.
There are some things that are on here that we finished. There was, some training that was done. There's, the committee was formed, the charter was put in place. The book recommendations came from the committee, and when Ida Nolan used to be on the board, she got a whole bunch of books donated to the library. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that still hasn't happened. There's no metrics to assess what's happening. There's been no ongoing evaluation. There's no plan for yearly training. I don't know if the new board members have gone through equity training. The equity vision statement was adopted, but there's not a policy around how to measure anything. The equity lens is on the website, and it says that the Park District uses the equity lens. The equity lens has never been used, and no one's been trained on how to use it. You can't have that up on your website if I'm not using it. And the rest of the stuff that strengthening outreach, creating a process for concerns about discrimination to come to the Park District. There's no review of policies to ensure the language is updated. All this stuff, it's 2023, it's been 3 years since we've been doing this, and we haven't even gotten through the initial things that we were supposed to do. So, that puts us in a situation where the work that the committee is doing is not being followed up by the board. You all are not putting together the pieces that you should have been to be able to claim that you have this equity charter and the equity lens. There's also a lot of disappointment about the dishonesty. You all said that we were going to be a part of the hiring process. We were not part of the hiring process of hiring Marlon. You flat out told us that we were going to be, and you kept us completely in the dark.
Okay, so you were at every single board meeting for the year prior, where we talked at every meeting about hiring the ED, we talked about our process, we talked about the IAPD search. You did not chime in until we had interviewed and picked a person. You had literally, until we chose somebody, I did not hear one peep from you or the running committee.
That was my mistake, because I trusted you. I thought that you were going to tell us when it was time. That timeline that you guys went through your interview, that was not made public. That was not.
It was absolutely in board meetings. If you can look back at the minutes.
Nobody in the community knew that you were hiring anybody. That is problematic. There are people who are in this building.
You called me and advocated for specific people.
I did. I advocated for Natalie, and that's the other issue. You told Natalie that you would bring to this board to renegotiate her salary, and you didn't do that. Instead, you expect her to continue to do work that she's not paid for. And as the equity committee, we cannot get behind the fact that you are perpetuating gender inequality. You have taken away her opportunity. You pushed back her review. We can't get behind that.
Okay, so I'm a little bit uncomfortable talking about specific employees.
So let's just talk about the gender inequality piece. I'm going to keep a woman in a subordinate position and expect her to do work that she's not getting paid for.
Like what?
You can have that conversation with Natalie. So I have a statement from
Natalie was just given a raise.
It was not comparable to what was happening. And again, you guys can continue to have this conversation.
Natalie was just given a raise.
That's substantial.
You all can have a conversation with her about all those details. It is clear to me that the decisions you all are making are not equity-minded. You wouldn't have left a woman in a subordinate position with no room to grow. You would not have left us out of the committee. It's not my responsibility to follow you up on all the things that you're supposed to be doing. You should have contacted the committee. You should have let us know what was happening, and you should have involved us. So this now puts us in a position that 2021, the Ridgeville Park District passed an equity charter that required the formation of the READY Committee. While we're proud of the work of the committee that has done over the years, as members of the Ridgeville Park District READY Committee, we can no longer back up Ridgeville. We're not moving forward with you because you are not working with the charter in good faith. We are unwilling to provide cover for the RPD Board of Commissioners' lack of attention to the equity charter, and we no longer believe that there's any value in our continued participation. Because of this, we, Andrew Weimer, Mark Carlin, and J.C. Costa-Herman, are resigning from the Ridgeville Park District READY Committee, effective immediately, and asking the residents of the Ridgeville Park District to hold the Ridgeville Park District Board of Commissioners, Matthew Mitchell, Mick Morrell, Diana Anton, Amanda DePalma, and Sean Jones, accountable for the values in which we hoped were enshrined in the RPD Equity Charter. We do so in the hope that Ridgeville Park District will renew its commitment to doing hard work of becoming a more equitable municipal body and placing equity on the heart of its missions. And this means actually involving your community, not just doing stuff for show that you can attach your name to it later. Your committee's out. You're not respecting the work that we do. You're not doing the things that you said you were gonna do. Your whole committee's done.
Thank you for your work. I wish you had communicated that prior to
You have never contacted me, Matt. You've never contacted me
Yes,
about
I have.
anything. You have. The dedication that you guys have is not what the committee had. You're not.
That's disappointing. Any commissioners have anything to add to that?
Yeah, that's not what I'm here for. So on the record, if I get directed at like that again, I'm done with this. I don't need that in my life right now. I'm here volunteering for a park district. I don't need to be fingers pointed at me. I will resign immediately if something like that happens again. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to do work for everybody equally. Like, to get a finger pointed at me like that, that's not fair. I wasn't here for the beginning or any of that. That's not, I feel like that was completely uncalled for.
Diane?
So, I'm still not getting what.
She didn't even know, she doesn't know even what that was about.
But, I mean, it's that.
And for her to say Amanda and like they've only been on the board for 3 months.
Absolutely. I feel like most of that was directed at me.
I don't need this, man. Let's do the budget.
Yeah, we need the.
I don't need to say you can't go.
Okay, let's do it and then we're out of here.
All right.
I'm taking time away from my family and my kids right now to get yelled at.
Alright.
So this, you know what I do for this community every day when I'm at work, and then I'm doing this too.
You're preaching the choir right now.
Come on, man.
Alright, so we're moving on to new business, number 12A for action to discuss and approve the appropriation ordinance for 2023-2024, which is listed in the digital packet starting on page 30. Is there a motion regarding the appropriation ordinance?
Yeah, I move to approve the appropriation ordinance as written.
Mitchell seconds. Any discussion?
We just saw something a little bit technical, but discuss the ordinance, we'll figure out exactly what to do about this. Make it a good session.
So a lot of work has gone into this. We're kind of at the finish line here. I don't have anything to add to the ordinance or the budget. Diane or Matt? All right. Natalie, could you do a roll call vote regarding the appropriations ordinance?
Yep. Diana Anton?
But let me, before you do that, section 3, the headings just got the years wrong. I thought we had fixed that, but apparently we missed it. The first heading is the amount appropriated for 2022 to 2023, which was last year. And the second heading is the amount appropriated for 2023 to 2024. The other sections all appear to be correct. I'm going to handwrite the changes here, and that will be the official copy that we will use. But go ahead.
Okay. With that amendment, small clerical change. Natalie, can we have a roll call vote?
Yep. Diana Anton?
Those column headings just have to be
Okay, approved.
Mick Morrell?
Yes.
Matt Mitchell?
Yes. All right. Ordinance passes.
And then we record.
I'll record that there. And then the 2 absent.
What's that? Yeah. We gotta do the salary.
All right. Charles, you all right? Working on that paperwork as we move on?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to 12B, to discuss and approve contract renewal for Bella Consulting. In this budget, we have
Bella Consulting part of the Ready?
in this budget, we have allocated $10,000 towards Bella Consulting and having Aisha Robinson as our consultant. We need to vote to approve that. I move to renew the contract with Bella Consulting for $10,000 for the upcoming budget year.
Were you
Were
moved to
you
approve?
expecting?
We should have a second first, and then discuss it.
Okay. Second.
So I was not expecting
What's today?
JC's
14th.
Yes.
outburst tonight. And Marlon and I talked to Aisha in like June. So I think right now, well, and so what we had talked about with Aisha was having her work more with staff.
Right.
And be available for coaching and guidance from staff, as well as working with the Ready Committee.
So she's connected to the Ready.
Yes, she was facilitating the Ready Committee. So currently don't have any members of the Ready Committee.
So now she.
Maybe we should table this
Yeah.
and see if,
Well, I mean, one thing we can do is dissolve the Ready Committee. I'm all right for right now. Process this a little bit. And I'd be willing to approve the contract renewal right now and maybe give Marlon some direction as to what we want from Bella Consulting.
Okay.
Right? Like that has changed since I walked into this meeting.
Yeah, when my staff and I talked, I'm sorry, Dan, I thought it would be beneficial for us to obviously have, somewhat trained professional like that with anything and every, whether it's training or just help on whether it's dealing with the customer, social media, anything like that, would we be able to just talk to somebody at that point?
Okay.
But so the Ready Committee will not be involved with them at all?
Well, the 3 members of the Ready Committee resigned as of tonight.
How many more members are there?
The whole committee resigned
So
tonight.
there's
She read a statement
Yeah.
from all of them.
Okay, so then we're only working with Bella Consulting and not Ready.
correct.
Yep.
Which is
Well,
still completely doable.
currently, right now, we have a Ready Committee, but nobody on it. As a board, we can choose to dissolve the Ready Committee. We can choose to find new members for the Ready Committee. We can choose to work with Aisha on what our next steps would be.
If you go back to the inception of this whole topic, there was no Ready Committee. There were members of the community that had concerns and were vocal in bringing them forward. And the board hired a consultant to educate them and the agency, the district,
And that's
on
valid.
the issue. It was a different consultant who's since passed away, but we've continued to find consultants to provide us information, education, and training on the topic. The Ready Committee was initially envisioned as a community committee to focus their input to the park district, for the park district to develop policy and implement the concepts of Ready. It was not initially envisioned to be a committee of the board or a committee of the district. It was just meant to be, here's a group that can come in and present a unified viewpoint and work in partnership with the district.
That can
It
come.
has kind of gone off in different directions over time, but the one constant has been the board has wanted to have the benefit of an expert, a subject matter expert, the consultant, to help with the process.
If I could say, I've always been uncomfortable with the Ready Committee because I was never quite sure what they were supposed to be doing, and I always thought there were issues under state law with the committee and whether they're having open meetings or not. I think this presents an opportunity for you to really think about what this committee should be, if anything, and just formulate a plan for it. Because I think my sense at the time was that there was a reaction to a room full of people and something needed to be done, and that committee kind of got formed after that, and it was never really clear exactly what they were going to do. So I would just suggest that be considered and you think about what, if anything, you want that committee doing.
So is that how it evolved to be part of this group? Why wasn't it just the community?
They essentially are. They're not a part of this group, as in these are
No,
the
they-
staff of
they-
Bridgewater.
they were- we had this-
They're under the umbrella of the commission.
We've had this discussion before, that it could just be an unofficial group
Right.
that could come to meetings
Right.
and express their opinions.
Right.
And
then they
the
don't
thought
need to
by the
worry
board,
about open or closed meetings or anything that has.
right, but the thought by the board had been, no, they should be an official committee. It's
How long ago was that?
3 to 4 years.
2020. When we were
Yeah,
working with Dr. Effiam, it was her idea that we implement that.
so
It was what?
Dr. Effiam was our first consultant, and that was her, part of her idea of helping us with our equity becoming it.
I think this gives you an opportunity to rethink exactly what you're doing and see if it makes sense. But it's your decision.
So I agree with that. We are at a.
In the meantime, we have a contract we have to approve. You two would like to continue to work with her.
Yes.
I
Would
would,
like
yeah.
to approve this contract?
Yes.
Okay, that's most important to me, so I don't need to hear anything further on that.
Me too, and I think we need her help and.
Yeah, I think she's beneficial to our staff.
Great.
And when you're like in
Yeah.
dealing with this,
Yeah.
Exactly.
so I'm in favor of renewing that contract.
Okay. As an
Okay. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Marlon, can you reach out to her tomorrow?
I definitely will.
Thank you.
Matt, I'm sorry, who made the motion in the second? Was it Mick and Matt?
Yes.
What we have is 12C. We don't think we need a.
No, we don't.
That's scratched.
Nope, that's scratched. Yep.
All right. Motion to implement the treasurer's salary.
I would like to make a motion to direct and authorize the executive director to implement the budgeted treasurer's salary in the amount of $10,300 in the payroll system.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Motion to transfer funds for capital projects. The proposed draft motion is on page 20 of the packet.
That's fine. But I just have one. Sure. Yeah. So you said,
Well,
The motion was made, let it get seconded,
Discuss.
and then,
Okay, so is there a motion regarding transferring $40,000?
I made a motion. Transfer the $40,000.
Motion reads to direct and authorize the treasurer to transfer $40,000 of unappropriated surplus from the recreation fund to the capital projects fund to be applied in the amount of $5,000 towards the purchase of the Kubota equipment and $35,000 to the performance stage project. Diana's motion.
A second.
Nick seconds. Any discussion?
Okay, so you said that this is forever once you do that, but
well, meaning, okay, so now we're gonna take 40,000 away from recreation, we're gonna put it in capital projects. And the next year, we're gonna actually do those projects.
if you don't spend it,
If we don't, for some reason, you can't give it back to recreation.
But we're going to do it.
But we're going to do
We're
it.
going
Exactly.
to just do the stage project, and we're gonna purchase the Kubota.
Yep.
What they
but even if they
Kubota's
didn't do
done. Yeah, we're
even
gonna-
if they just decided not to do it for whatever
Let's just
reason,
stay there.
it's in there, and next year, you could use that 40,000 to do a different capital project.
I see.
It's just only gonna be available for capital projects, that's all.
Okay, but it's not every year that you have to make this transfer.
No,
It's whenever there's a capital improvement project that you wanna do, we have to move the money to that, because we can't spend the money out of the recreation fund on a.
And here's, you know, last year, your actual budget, you did not spend all the money you planned to spend. So you've taxed the taxpayers and raised the money, but you didn't spend it. So we have that as what's called unappropriated surplus. So that money, we are now designating a purpose and we're gonna spend it. So in the event somebody complains, you taxed me and you didn't do anything with it, this is the trail of the money. This is what we did with that
We
tax.
need to spend all the money that we tax
Yes.
from our residents.
So
We have to use it, and secondly, if we don't use it, in future years, we could end up getting less money into our budget.
We're not doing something irresponsible or reckless. It's a very deliberate, calculated, responsible management of the money.
But I haven't heard about the stage yet.
So,
Let's hear it. Let's go. Come on.
all right. I'll be honest with you. Natalie inceptioned me a while ago with this, but then I saw the concerts, and obviously
Yeah.
we've all been there,
Right.
and they're amazing. We have that equipment,
Yeah.
and my philosophy's always been in parks is to make what we're doing good or great even better. And I think that's something that we're known for, and Natalie's done a bang-up job of bringing this thing, and the community comes out, and I think we can have more bands, longer times, not have to worry about if it drizzles, having to cancel it.
So we're getting a
Stage.
put a roof on
The whole point is to
And
put a
lights.
roof on it.
it? No way.
Yeah.
And lights, so it doesn't have to end with the
she's getting
sun-
really into
sunrise.
it.
So now will it be permanent? Will it be left up in the winter?
It'll be a
or will it
permanent
come
structure.
down in the
We're talking
It'll be a
Santa-
permanent structure.
permanent structure?
Yeah, we're talking about, lunches with Santa, permanent, so the boys don't have to put everything together in the middle of the heat
Right.
and take it down. This
More
will be-
tarps.
More tarps.
Great.
Yep.
Do we have, is that enough?
Well, we're looking.
Oh, money?
Yeah.
Probably not, but
Right.
Don't know if it's enough, it's what we have.
Yeah.
How it came to pass was at the final budget review, Marlon and I do, after the books are closed to know where we stand.
Yeah.
I said to him, Marlon, you got a problem for Exhibit A to work, you need to spend another $35,000. Do you have a list of something you want? You can go back to the line items, add it in somewhere, do other things. And he immediately said, this is what I want to do. And we initially started at a lower number, and I said, well, because we were going to spread it around. He said, well, okay, let's go for this one. Because the problem is we really haven't researched this
Yeah.
or developed
Okay.
anything. So it's
Sorry.
earmarked, hopefully it's enough. If it's not, well, at least you're getting the project started and you can finish it in the subsequent budget year.
We've talked to a couple engineers. Natalie has her contacts, I have mine.
Cool.
And already sent out, they've already actually Google Earthed the layout.
Nice.
We've already sent them the drone footage. So we're at that point.
Have you talked to Jake? Do you know Jake at all?
no.
Jake Samuels lives just down the street. They come to the concerts all the time. He runs Space.
Okay.
Space
Oh.
and Salt Shed.
Shed-ism.
is him. That's his. He
Do you know
Outer
Jake?
Space, the concerts is 100% his baby. He is.
Does he, do
He lives
you,
at
Okay,
Do you have a number for him?
all right,
He's a good friend of mine.
we'll bug you.
Is he a contractor or an architect or?
No, he's does books music.
All right, but he knows
So,
people.
but he may have contacts.
He knows people.
Got it.
That could, in the stage,
Yeah.
right? I think he'd be a good person to replace.
Okay. I talked to Lainey from Park Creation, who has done a bunch of our play circuits in the past few years, and you can buy band shells or shelters through Park Creation.
Oh, right.
So if we can find one person who does the whole shebang,
Yeah.
great. Or if we need to separate it so that we can,
Sure.
for example, their structures have they're pre-built for electric. So if we had to put it up and then pay for the electric in the next
right.
fiscal year, we could do that. But
Right,
those
right.
band shelters are pretty cool. It's just a matter of like, how do we figure out the
Running
stage?
electric's gonna be, probably
Because electric's already out there, so it's just a matter of getting it wired through the.
It might just be worth talking to Jake just to see if he has any ideas or anything like
I'll
that.
talk to everybody. Walt Hamilton was my initial meeting, so what they told me too is like, once you have it, because we'll go prefab because of the pricing and everything, he's like, it'll take us 48 hours to install.
And the theater production, I'll be able to use it.
I can move everything up there.
That's so cool.
We've got the Ridgefield Band Chamber Ensemble is doing a holiday concert here this winter. Won't be ready for that,
Right.
but in theory, if it was nice
Tom
enough.
Circle could use it, you know.
Oh, yeah, everybody-
They
yeah.
can use it when they don't want to be inside, it's nice out, go around.
You can do all kinds of stuff with it. And hopefully the
excited.
goal here is if it's ready, we're gonna expand the concert series into June, so it'll be June through August.
Cool.
No, I'm glad you guys are as excited as we are, 'cause we're pretty pumped about it.
All right, call the commissioners, Diana.
Did we vote on that?
Yeah,
Believe
We did.
you did.
Okay.
So, this is where I can ask something. So, yeah?
Generally more of a expounding, where you're talking and then asking, but
Okay, well, actually, I was wondering about the chess tables.
Yeah, I have those actually, I have it in my notes. I can tell you exactly where that's gonna come out of. And we're actually planning on putting them right outside of Seward, right outside of our offices. Kind of playgrounds, but I have,
You have them in the budget, you said?
yeah,
Well,
right here. It even says picnic tables right here. So that'll be playgrounds, parks and maintenance capital outlays. So, but Marcus and I have already looked at those and putting them outside here where the playgrounds are.
okay.
hmm I know that was your ask, so that was one of the first things.
Yeah. How much is there? I don't know.
It doesn't have a line item, but those are $350 though. Yeah. Or we're also thinking about putting, painting the benches that we have as well.
Yeah.
Yep, that's another idea. Which are getting, actually those picnic tables are getting painted this week for Bike the Ridge as well.
You mean for chess?
No, but I just remember, yeah, Marcos is repainting them this week.
Okay. Comment? Do I make a comment?
You don't have to.
You don't have to. Just a comment about, the heat, and how to resolve that. I guess it's up to you.
well, I was just say this is not the time for back and forth conversation. This is the time for saying things. If you have anything to say, now's your time.
I said,
Meg? No. I don't have anything. Citizen comments? Hearing none. I move to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
let's say.
Of course. Thank you for all your hard work on it.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.